Hello, ladies. Welcome to season 3, episode 1, with a dear friend named Carrie. I met Carrie originally through another dear friend, a mutual friend of ours, and I can't remember. She can tell us in a minute. The first time I remember meeting her was in a temazcal ceremony, sweating like a lunatic in here in Yucatan, Mexico. She was visiting with our mutual friend who is Julia, and Julia also has an episode here on Real Women, Real Talk. Um, so definitely check that one out too after you hear Carrie's story. I'm super excited to learn more about Carrie's story. Like I said, we met in the Tamas, and then I went to a beautiful sound healing ceremony at her place in Colorado. And yeah, we've kept in touch, and I can't wait to know more about her. She's a soul sister. She's tapped into spirituality. I know that. We've had those conversations. And she's a lovely, lovely person. So I'm super excited to learn more about her and her story and what's going on in her life. And so without further ado, welcome, Carrie.
Hi, Sarah. So happy to be here. Just happy to hang out with you and chat.
Yay! Yay! I
And
love that.
yeah, that's so funny that it was the Temazcal that was our first time because I feel like I've known you so much longer than that. But I think it was just so like probably from Julia, like I felt like I already knew you. And then it was just like so easy after that that it was just like, oh yeah, we known each other forever.
Same, same. And our first meeting was really cool because it was the Temazcal was with this abuela, this grandmother, this Mayan. Well, she's not Mayan; she's actually Argentinian, but she practices the Mayan. Uh, the Mayan cosmology, I guess, of ceremony. And it was her first on her new land, Samia Luna. It was her first Temazcal ceremony on this sacred land here in Yucatan. And we kind of, what do you call it? Like we started it. We planted the seeds. We helped her start her place. And just to let you know, Carrie, you should see it now. It's phenomenal. I mean, that was a couple years ago, and she's just really built it up. And I can't wait for you to come back, and we'll do another one of those ceremonies. But it was super intense, man. That one kicked our butts.
It was so intense. It was insane. And it was just so beautiful too because I loved how um she just I'd been to sweat lodges in the US before, but it was so different to do the Mayan lineage and to have her do the full thing beforehand. Like, can't remember what the drink was called beforehand, but it was like replenishing our bodies before we even like went into the sweat lodge. So it was like, oh, it was so amazing. And she was already growing some of the herbs there on the land, I remember, that she was putting on the fire. And it was just like, oh my gosh. And the most amazing thing, oh, sorry, I didn't turn the mic.
No, no, no. Go, go.
The most amazing thing that I loved, this is my favorite because I've never had it in any other sweat lodge, is that she brought in those huge pieces of aloe that were cut in half and we got to rub them all over our bodies. And I just hope we get to do it again this November because that was amazing.
Yeah, yeah, she's quite magical. She's quite powerful, and I'm super super grateful to have found her in my life. Just like all the women that seem to come into my life, like you.
Yes.
So why don't we start by telling us a little bit about you? Who is Carrie? What's your story?
Oh my goodness. It's so funny when you introduced me, I'm like, oh goodness, like there's so many stories. There's so many stories. I mean, I don't even
So
know
many
what my
layers.
answer is because there's so many, like, like I think all women, right? Especially women that are on the spiritual path, you realize how multidimensional you are and how many lifetimes you've lived within this one lifetime, right? So, let's see, which one do I want to share today? Well, I think what's really present for me today is that I'm a mom of three teenage girls. So I have a 14, almost 14, 17, and 19. And just what else do I want to tell about that? it's just been such they've been such teachers, and it's been such a transformational path to be a mom. I feel like life came really easy to me until I became a mom. I like, I was like living on my dreams and like, oh, what do I want to do next? Let's go to college in Chicago. And then I was like, ooh, it'd be really cool to like train dolphins. And so I started working at like a zoo there, did an internship and like learned how to train dolphins and sea lions and seals. And I was like, oh, this is like the biggest dream ever. And then I was like, oh, maybe I'll go to vet school. So then I went to vet school. Um, like I guess it's really hard to get into vet school. And also like to go through vet school. And somehow I just went through it all. And then it was like my junior year of vet school, I met my girl's baby daddy, right? And so
Mhm.
so we had so much fun. And then a year after vet school, we got married. And then like 2 months later, pregnant, right? I was like
Oof.
ready to just have babies and dive in, which I didn't actually think that I wanted to have babies before that. I was just like, I want a life of adventure. And then it was just like all of a sudden the blinders were off and it was like, no, you're having a baby now. This baby's ready to come in.
Whether you're ready or not, here she comes.
Yes. So it was kind of that moment that really changed my life. And she's still like one of my biggest teachers. She's just such this, like, I call them all three star seeds. And they're just like so unique and so like full of energy, and it's different energy than mine. And so like when I was starting like to have this child that was just like, oh my God, I never want to sleep. I just want to like live life fully. And she's still like that to this day. Has just been such a like I always call her Labrador Retriever because I'm like, you need to like run her for 10 miles for her to like want to like settle down and like hang out. And so that was just like the beginning of me really like I would even say like my dark night of the soul was having babies because I was so tired and it was such a challenge for me. And I did decide to be a stay-at-home mom at a certain point. And so,
So,
which
so you put the career on hold.
I
At
did.
all of that work that you had put into that, you were like, okay, I'm having a baby now. I'm gonna stay at home and I'm gonna put all that energy that was there. Now I'm gonna focus it on my kids.
Yeah, it was pretty wild because I loved animals up until that point. Like, I'm pretty telepathic with animals and, getting their messages and knowing what's happening with them. And I just loved them up until that point. But as soon as I had Cat, which was my first baby, I just like fell in
You
love with
named her cat.
yeah, exactly. Well, she was Kate back then. She actually changed her name to Cat. Um, which is pretty funny. Um, but I just like fell in love with these babies and I was like, this is all I want to do. I just want to
Mm.
like babies. I don't know. I just love them so much. It was so instant for me. Yeah, so I did. I just like put everything aside and did that for 15 years. So I stayed
Wow.
mom for 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure like with daughters, because I have two boys, and I remember like praying, please don't let it be a girl, please don't let it be a girl, please don't let it be a girl, because I knew how much how much of a pain in the ass I was, or that feminine energy was so intense and so powerful within myself that I was like, there's no way that I can have that reflection coming back at me. I need the masculine energy to, and somehow I knew because, I was young and really had no idea what the hell I was doing. And similar to your story, I didn't have any desires to be a mom. It just happened. And I was like, okay, here we go. So I'm sure that reflection with not one, not two, but three girls of that serious feminine energy reflecting back at you, going, okay, now what are you going to do?
Yes, that is totally so 100% like, and I was like you too, where I was like, but it was the opposite. I was praying for girls, like to the point that I literally talked myself into each of them being a boy so that I wouldn't be disappointed if they were a boy. So when they were a girl, I was like, oh my God, yeah, I'm so relieved. But I grew up in a house with three boys, with three brothers. So for me, it's all I wanted was that like My best friend had four sisters, and I just love that energy. When it's your own kids, like you said, it's like just this like perfect mirror and they're perfect teachers. And I find that like girls tend to call out their moms definitely more like on things than boys ever call out their moms on things, right? So
Hmm.
it's like you can't hide. You can't hide from girls. They're gonna tell you exactly exactly how it is. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay, so then you spent the next, well, you said the youngest is 14, 15?
Almost 14. Yep.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how many years did you keep the full-time mom position?
Well, it was 15 years. And then that's when I had like my big spiritual awakening. Started to have, of course, there was like slowly, I think over time with my husband working, he traveled a ton. I just became like looking back on it now, I didn't know it really then, but I became like mildly depressed. I think because I wasn't out doing anything of my own. And I really wanted something like of my own, like a purpose, just something that was outside the house. But he traveled so much that that space wasn't really there for me.
Mm-hmm.
And by this time we were living in Austin, like living in our dream house, like on a beautiful cul-de-sac. We had like everything we wanted. And I was like, why the fuck am I not happy? Like, this doesn't make sense. I have three healthy children and like a really great husband. Like, there's nothing, he was
Mm-hmm.
super dedicated to our family, all those things. I was just like, what is the matter with me? So I kept like judging myself. And then I started to have panic attacks.
Oh,
And not just like inside or like claustrophobia. It's like the first one I had, I was out on a walk with my husband actually in nature in this beautiful place. And I was talking about something and I just started having it was my first panic attack ever. And I was like thought I was gonna die, huge full-blown panic attack. I was like, what is going on? After that, I was like, I didn't think that I could have panic attacks. I didn't even know really what it was until halfway through it. I feel like my guides were just coming in and telling me this is a panic attack. You're not dying. You just need to like slow down and like, breathe. So those
yeah, it's crazy with the panic attacks because I used to have them as well, and
oh, you did.
yeah, like debilitating. Like I would fall down. Like my legs would not. I couldn't keep myself standing up. Like I'd have to fall down on the ground. And like you, I felt like I was dying. Someone take me to the hospital. Tell my kids I love them. Like it's over. I'm out. I'm done. So it's really it's crazy how intense they can feel, how powerful they can feel. But the interesting thing with your story is in that first panic attack, you actually felt your guides come to you and be like, okay, it's okay. Like you're just going through something right now. So
Mhm.
it maybe like your guides needed a moment like that for you to go, hey.
They did. I was definitely getting the like, here's a pebble throwing it at you, like, here's your sign, here's your sign, here's your sign. And then finally it was like a slap, like, yeah. I, before we move on, I'm so interested to hear about your panic attacks. Do you feel like sharing, like, what you feel like yours were or what was happening during that time?
Yeah, it was. I was super young. I had my first son when I was almost 19. So, yeah, he was born October and then I turned 19 in December. Everything was fine. I had to grow up pretty quick. So, I was already used to taking care of everyone and taking care of everything. Become having a child, I was just knew what to do already. I was like, all right, let's do this. And I had come home from work one evening and someone had broken into my house and the door was busted in. And that week or in those few days that followed, that's when the panic attacks started. And I had no idea what the heck it was. And probably similar to you, I mean, it wasn't common information like we talk about it now, anxiety and panic attacks. But back then, we didn't know what it was. It didn't even exist. And I think I went to the doctor and they were like, you just had a moment. I don't know. Here's some pills, you know?
Mhm.
And so I'm like, okay, trust the doctor, give me the pills because I don't want to feel this anymore. And then over the years, I would feel like whenever I was under stress, I would start to feel them again. And I was never, I didn't like the medication, right? So I would stop taking it, and then the panic attacks would start again. I'm like, God damn it. So I'd start taking the pills again, right? Like, how, because you can't function. You cannot function. You cannot think about anything.
You
There's
can't
no
think
way,
about anything. Yeah, it's so true.
you
You like
can't work,
spend the whole time like telling yourself, don't think about that, don't think about
and you
that.
spiral out. And
Mhm.
then it just continued on. I had them all throughout my the first 6 7 years of my first son's uh, birth, and then they kind of tapered off. I don't remember if it was medication or what had happened, because I had not found spirituality. There were no guides whispering to me. I was out there on my own, going, "What the heck is wrong with me?"
Yeah.
And then when I got pregnant with my second son, I started having them while I was pregnant for him.
Oh my God.
And I mean, I was so worried that something terrible was going to happen to my kids. I was so worried that one of them was going to die, like I couldn't protect them. And that would turn me into this tailspin of craziness. And they progressively got worse to where I couldn't stand up. And like someone had to pick me up and help me, regain consciousness, I guess.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I
And then
don't know. Go
like,
ahead.
are they gone? Like, what happened since then?
Yeah. So the last one I had must have been in 2016. Yeah, 2016. And I was in Yosemite, and this was during my dark night, what'd you call it earlier? Dark night of the soul. I was with this, I was dating this fake shaman. I've talked about him in my blog, so you can learn all about that there. Posed himself as a shaman, as a healer. And he was anything but that. He was a raging narcissist, and it was super tough. It was the worst relationship of my life, and I couldn't figure out how to get out because I thought it was my fault. I thought I was doing things wrong.
Oh,
And I was having panic attacks through that relationship. But the last one I had, we were in Yosemite, in the beautiful nature, wonderful, place that you would feel connected, right?
yeah.
And I remember feeling so small. And what freaked me out was, oh my God, the world is so big. If something happens to me right now, no one's going to know about it. Like
Oh
the
no.
planet is just going to swallow me up. And I couldn't
Oh,
get my breath, and I couldn't
oh,
and I couldn't
that
talk
is
to the
bad.
healer because he would thought I was crazy. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? Stop it. You know? So I suffered with that one on my own. And I don't know, I get it. I don't remember any after that, but I have not had any since that relationship ended. So, and since that relationship, I've also gotten rid of all the other narcissistic people in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it was an onset of childhood crap, and those people that were making me feel responsible for them. And I was like, hell, I can't even take care of myself. I'm dying over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thankfully, no more.
Wow.
No
Yeah.
more.
I'm thankful for you. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like a lot of panic attacks. And I can't imagine having them when I was pregnant. That's a lot.
Oh, it was terrible. And it could have been like hormonally induced. I mean, who knows exactly what it is.
Hmm.
But it's something I had to work through. You have to go through the steps of finding spirituality, of finding your peace, the things, how to ground yourself, how to talk to yourself and talk through these panic attacks, knowing that it's just momentary and you're going through this, and just relax, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. The big relaxation.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
learning.
I actually don't even know what I'd do if I have had them a couple years ago actually again, but yeah, I find that yeah, you just have to relax, right? You just have to relax and be like, okay, this is scaring the shit out of my body or a part of me or a part of me feels like trapped or small or whatever, and just have to like, yeah, be here for that and relax into it. That's actually a really good point. That's kind of how mine went. Yeah.
Yay. Yeah, thank God that part's over because that's intense.
Yeah.
That's intense. But I know something, it's like with that relaxing, I think that, and it's something you also work with is breath work of knowing how to really take a deep breath that fills your whole body and being able to slow the rhythm because I in a panic attack everything feels like it speeds up and you tense up, and so being able to relax, I think the breath work really helps with that.
Yeah. And it is funny that I ended up in breathwork in breathwork after that. So like perfect, right? Yeah. So that's the short story is that like so I had that panic attack. I kept having them kind of like you, like if I had any sort of thoughts of I don't know, it was almost like any thought could bring me there, right? But um what I realized what was happening was that I needed to leave my marriage, but I was scared to like really approach that.
break up Break up the perfect life.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but of course, like because the world works the way it does, at least in my mind, like the divine is always watching over us, our guides. Like within the next few weeks, my neighbor, he started telling me about ayahuasca and that he had been doing ayahuasca with a shaman nearby, that came up from Peru and that they would do them out like with a fire outside and all these things. So he kept like just sharing, and his sharing really helped me be like, oh, like the spiritual connection with someone, and that he was a
Hmm.
neighbor and he was like living in the same areas I was living in, like the suburban area of Austin. And so I think that just started helping me like open up a little bit. And so I told my husband after like the next couple of panic attacks, I was like, hey, I need to move back to Colorado. Like, I can't stay here anymore. Like, I just can't stay here anymore for your job, whatever. Whether you want to come with me or not, I'm going to take the kids back and I'm going to go like, we had a house still here with renters, and I'm like, I'm going to have our renters move out and I'm going to move back to Colorado. That's what I need to do. I just know 100% like that's it. And I also had really like strong feelings that I needed to do ayahuasca. And our friend Denise, you know Denise as well, don't you?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And Denise had already had some experiences with plant medicine. So I started talking to her and we moved back. In the meantime, I just want to say in the meantime, we did also, I went to Belize with my mom because I was just like, I like need space. Like I just need to like go do some stuff on my own. I went to Belize with my mom and my brother and my sister-in-law. And I went to my very first ruins, like Mayan ruins, believe it or not.
Yeah,
And
Belize.
Manchinich, I think is what it's called. And literally just setting foot on that ground was just like, it coded me. Like I was like forever changed. And I was like, what is going on? Like it was the most amazing experience. We weren't even expecting it when we went down. We were just like wanting to go all hang out and have some time. And we ended up there and it was just like, oh, so magical. And so from there, like things just started unfolding really fast. And I ended up, there's something else I was going to tell you. Oh, yeah. When I came home from that, I started crying a lot. And the crying, this like release of grief, that's what I want to talk about because you've been talking a lot about grief lately. I had these massive releases of grief. I've had a lot of people like die in my life that were close to me.
Hmm.
Suddenly, some of them not so suddenly, but I hadn't really grieved them properly. And after being on that Mayan ruin, I started crying like crazy. Like I would just be driving in the car without my kids in it. And I would just start crying like these big, ugly cries. And that's like when my panic attack started going away. And it was almost like this grief was like too big for my body. And so, and it was being triggered. Like whenever I think about like my marriage, not working out or something, like that amount of just like small amount of sadness would be too much for my body because my body was like, I have so much to grieve. So like it was like scary. So yeah, that was really cool. It was crazy. I didn't really know what was happening. Now I know because I've done so much grief work and worked with elders around grief and stuff like that. But yeah.
Well,
So
that's the thing with grief too, is it's like we try and handle it in a practical way. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm sad, someone has passed away, or it could be any kind of grief, your divorce, anything, that grief comes from so many different ways. And you try and be practical with it, but there has to be a connection with something higher power than what your brain is doing. And so when you went to that Mayan ruin, because these Mayan ruins have thousands and thousands of years of sacred energy, right? So
yeah.
even you're going as a tourist, you're like, oh, that'd be cool to see. Like, oh, this is a really old, artifact or old thing. Like, let's go see it. And then you get there and you're like, what the hell is going on? And so that was like your activation moment. It was like, okay, here you felt the energy now, and now it allowed you to let go of that grief, to let it out whether you wanted to or not. It just came out. Wow,
Yeah.
that's such a cool story.
Yeah. And you remind me as you're like talking about it, it's like back then too. I mean, even though I was into yoga, I've been trained in yoga, all sorts of things. I really didn't know about sacred sites, right? Like I wasn't calling it a sacred site. I was just like you said, going as a tourist, like, oh, this is cool. Oh, so
Yeah,
interesting. I was like, oh, okay. Things changed. This is a big transformation just from stepping foot on that ground.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So when did you take the next step and try the sacred medicines? How much time in between there, and then what made you actually take that take that step? Because it's a scary thing, and I think a lot of people think about it like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, maybe I should, but that sounds terrible. That sounds horrifying. Like, I don't want to be puking in front of other people, and or in ayahuasca, there's the stories of what happens. So you have
Yeah.
to be brave to let to let go, right?
Yeah. And I think I've always been like a really brave person, like willing to do things that other people aren't willing to do. As a college athlete, like I always like I just moved from Montana away from my family and went to college, like all those things. But I never knew about plant medicine, like until that neighbor, right? And then I
Mm-hmm.
do remember the place we were staying in, Belize, also had a medicine woman there. And I remember like looking at it and being like, huh, that's interesting. Like I was just such a beginner. And so um it took about, so that was May that we were in Belize, and then it was October that I did the plant medicine. So we moved back
Okay.
to Montana. We moved back to Colorado during that time, which obviously takes some time with kids and settling in and
Getting
all
them
that.
into school and all of that.
Yeah. And so then it was October, did my first plant medicine ceremony. And even though at that time I wasn't really expecting or looking for this answer, I didn't go into it thinking that. I just went in really curious, like, what the heck is it going to be like? I think I was super scared actually. So I wasn't thinking about like an intention or like I want answers. I was just like, oh my God, am I gonna survive this?
Yeah. I'm putting
Like,
my
what the
trust
heck
in
is this gonna be like?
some. Yeah.
And I came out of it, and oh my God, during that ceremony was just so insane. Like, I really released this huge witch wound, which was, just like holding back my voice. And I like experienced energetically just like thorns in my womb, and those all got like pulled out, and I literally started like bleeding in the ceremony. Like I wasn't planning on having my period, but I had like a week early and just like started my period.
Wow.
Yeah, like, and that was like yeah, just so therapeutic. So
Did your ex-husband, did you move, did he move back to Colorado with you?
yeah, he did. Sorry, I didn't mention that. Yeah, he moved back. He was like, oh my gosh, like I'll just move back, it's fine, like let's do this thing. We moved back into our old house. Yeah, he like changed a lot for me actually. He basically ended up quitting his job because he was like, I just want you to be happy. So yeah, and then in that plant medicine ceremony, I was like, I knew that I wanted something different. And the most thing I knew that I wanted different in our relationship is that I needed more touch. Like I realized that I was like lacking in like true like cuddling and being touched and held because he's just more of a provider.
Mhm.
And he's very like loving in the way that he gives service, but he's just not super And it wasn't that he wasn't sexual, he just wasn't like loving on me on a daily basis when we were together, like hugging
The
and connecting
intimacy.
to each other. Yeah. Sorry, I missed what you said. What'd you say?
I said the intimacy of it, through the energy where you're sharing the energy. It's like you're going through the motions of the way that it's supposed to be, but that feeling was missing.
Ah, and it seems like such a subtle thing, like you're saying, but I came out of that first ceremony and I just asked him for what I needed. I was like, hey, I need more of this.
Uh-huh.
And that would be really nice. And I feel like that would change our relationship. And it is hard when you have three kids together, right? Like even two kids, it changes your relationship.
Yeah.
And like in the next month, I kind of just like gave it time and it just wasn't there. And it was like there's kind of a history of asking him for different things and him doing it for a week. Like I had stopped drinking at this point because we pretty much had cocktails every single night. And I just realized like it wasn't benefiting me at one point. And I was like, I just don't want to do that anymore. And that's really when my spiritual awakening started happening when I stopped doing that. It was like I was numbing my relationship. Part of that was the panic attacks. I was just like, I just want to be like really good to my body. So I'd asked him like, hey, would you just stop drinking with me? And it was like he'd do it for a week. And then he would be like, oh, I have to have a beer or whatever, like I just want to
Yeah.
have some fun. So I feel like this is going, there's probably lots of details that are a lot here,
No,
but
we're getting the big picture of it, and
yeah.
I'm telling you, there's a lot of women that are going to relate to exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. And so, um, yeah, I mean, it just came to the down to the fact that it was like there wasn't that commitment or devotion to me in the end. Like I didn't feel that. And so even though he was this amazing provider, it wasn't enough for me, which sounds like sometimes I can even still feel like, oh, I feel so selfish, but I fucking needed like to connect deeply on a soul level with someone and I needed to have like that touch. Like I
Hmm.
was withering away into nothing. I was dying on the inside literally because I wasn't having that connection because we had like numbed ourselves to this like suburban lifestyle and like chasing the carrot for him and just like having like all the things but no like actual real connection. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I was just finally like I need a divorce.
I can't do it anymore. You were selling yourself, selling your soul to the American dream.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And soon after and all that, like breath work, a friend invited me to breath work up in the mountains, and I had this insane experience in this past life, like I'm gonna say a past life experience, but it was like healing a past life. This
Okay.
huge other emotional release. And I was like, holy fuck, I gotta like share this with people. I have to like this is like the most like I'd done so many things. I'd done plant medicine at that point. I had done like all the healing stuff, like energy healing, all these things, meditation. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I had no idea. And I was like, I have to share this with my friends and with everybody in the world. This can like heal everybody, or this can like change everybody's lives.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
And it was like once you opened up to that, once you had your first plant medicine or experience with spirituality, it doesn't even have to be a plant medicine. It can be a ceremony of any sort. But if you're with the right healers or the right people, it just breaks you open. And then it's like they just start, it's like the spirit, the energy, the guides, they're like, oh yeah, we want to be a part of this too. And like you said, like people just start showing up and you're like, oh, I'm gonna try. Yep, yeah, oh, I'm in. And it just opens you up to the world of it. But you got to be open to it. You got to be understanding that it's work. you know it's something I talk a bit about is the the trend of, let's go do ayahuasca or let's do DMT. And people go and do these ceremonies, and afterwards they're like, oh my god, 20 years of therapy, well, I feel amazing, I feel great, la, la, la. And then they're right back to their same habits. They're right back to having that daily cocktail, or not practicing what you learned in that ceremony, so that they're ready to do another plant medicine like the next month. And you hear people talk about, oh yeah, I've done 8 ayahuasca ceremonies. And I'm like, it's not even possible, because it took me over a year to kind of process everything that I went through in my first plant medicine experience. So even if you've been, you know, guided to do a ceremony, you have to understand it's bigger than a trend. You know, it's not, you're not doing it to be cool or to, you know, dance all night, or it's like you really got to understand that it's a practice. It's something that you want to heal from these things. You have to put it into your practice and understand that it's not a one-time band-aid. It's not a fix, or you're never going to heal from it. And you're always going to keep seeking and searching to try and fill this void that one plant medicine or 15 plant medicine, if you're not connected, it's kind of a waste of time, really.
Yeah, I see that a lot. Like just in the communities I've been in, the people that, yeah, they just do ceremony after ceremony after ceremony. It becomes another addiction, right?
That's
Um,
it. You just put the
yeah,
word on it. Yeah.
yeah. It becomes another way to numb or escape reality or being human. And it's so important, like you said, for it to be a practice and to like really embody those changes. And yeah, I think that,
Integrate.
yeah, I think that's so important. And I saw that so much in my community where people are like, how are you getting so much? Like, how's your life changing so much? And I think it was because I wasn't just doing the plant medicine, I was doing the breath work. I did 3 breathwork trainings, and there's no plant medicine or breathwork trainings. It's all about like what your body can do for you and like really um really intentional space holding, really conscious space holding,
Mm-hmm.
and conscious connections with other people. And so I was learning that. And so then that was changing my life just by changing that within myself and being really honest with myself through breath work. It was like my reality was just changing. And then I learned to be really honest with other people versus, yeah, chasing a carrot or a trend or like trying to be someone I wasn't. And then within that, yeah, I found that I didn't really like to touch other people because I could feel their stuff.
Ah,
And I
yes.
realized a lot of like some of the anxiety I had before the plant medicine, which I didn't really address ever, was because I could feel everybody's stuff. So like if you're gonna like, I mean, I would go to like school events and I could feel all the women's stuff. I would know their stories. If we went to a party, I would know how they were feeling inside. And so then I started to do a friend recommended, she's like, you should go do like training for energy work just to see if that helps. And so this is getting back to what you're saying, believe it or not. It's a long way there.
No, it's great.
Yeah. So I looked up in Denver. I'm like, where could I do energy training? I literally just found it online. I didn't go with any friends or anything. I didn't get a recommendation. I just saw these people and I was like, oh my gosh, these are my people. And it was a
You felt
weekend
a
thing and
calling.
it was coming up soon. So I did it, but I was really nervous. And I walked in their house, and this might be irrelevant, but I saw a picture of Saima. I don't know if you know who Saima is. She's like this woman Indian like guru, basically.
Okay.
She's like the first woman guru from India. And
Okay.
she's been like this kind of marker in my whole life of like people that I'm like, oh, this is my soul's path. And there's a picture of her
Mhm.
there.
And
I
like,
never
so
actually like
already,
followed her. Oh, go ahead.
before you arrived, you had already felt a connection with her energy and her spirit.
No, it was when I
Okay.
walked in her house, when I walked in their house and I saw that I was like, oh, that's why I'm here. These are my people.
Okay.
Yeah, like I knew the depth of what she teaches and who she is. And I was like, oh, yeah, seeing her picture was like, oh, I'm on the right path because it had happened to me multiple times in my past, even before plant medicine. I'm like, oh, you're my friend. Even though I've never truly like, I've gone to like one of her events probably like 3 years ago, but she was like the person. So I go downstairs because everybody was late that day, the very first day. So I go downstairs because they had this beautiful downstairs to like hold the whole training in. And I start talking to the woman because it was a man and woman couple.
Okay.
And she was like, oh, like what brought you here? La, la, what have you been doing? And so I started talking about plant medicine, all these things. And I said, I'm actually really interested. I'm like, I'm here because a friend told me I needed to do this, but I'm really interested in like shamanism and like, what is that? Like, I want to know more about like how all that works. You know, and she was like, oh, that's so interesting. I had a shamanic healing center for 14 years in New Hampshire. And
Wow.
he's worked with tons of indigenous people. And like, I was like, oh, so crazy. And she was like, I've never done this here in Colorado yet, but she's like, I would be willing to work with you one-on-one and teach you what I know if you want. So I was also training in shamanic. I did an energy healing thing, which moved a ton of energy from my body from like past lives too, so that I could touch people again and do energy work with them again. And then after that weekend, I started my shamanic training with Julianne and like even mentored under them to learn how to teach other people how to shamanic journey. And so I was doing, like you were saying, like all these practices. Things were changing for me because I wasn't just doing the plant medicine and expecting it to change things for me. Yeah, I was like,
Doing the work.
yeah, and I was like learning about it. I'm like, okay, why does plant medicine work? Like, why is this what really are my guides? I want to know more. And I want to know, like, every time there was a fear that came up or something like I didn't want to touch people, I would go explore it. I was like, okay, what's on the other side of this fear? And every time I'd find freedom, like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Ah! Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So what year more or less was that?
Let's see. Gosh, okay, 2018. I first did plant medicine in 2018, and then yeah, like 2019 was all the breath work and shamanism. And I've been doing for 5 years. I've been doing the shamanic training. Like right now, I'm in the middle of learning how to teach, like more specifically, other things to people. But we're on a break because he actually has cancer, and so
Oh shit.
they both took the whole year off to just be with each other
Yeah.
and just totally focus on his
His
whatever's
health.
happening. Whether
Yeah.
he's dying or he's gonna live, they just want to like take that whole year and be with it 100%.
Of
So
course. Of course.
yeah. So anyway, okay. So that was yes, that was 2019. What is it? 2025 now.
Yeah. So, but now at this point, you were already divorced, right?
Yeah. Yep. Divorce didn't go through till 2021, but it doesn't matter anyway. It was a long
The end of
mediation.
the relationship, and now where I'm getting at is you're exploring your journey, those things that you felt you were missing in this relationship, that you weren't finding your purpose, you were disconnected from yourself. And so
Yeah.
now you've been opened up, and now you're really exploring, like you were just explaining, what are those fears and how do I feel and what is my purpose and who am I and what am I doing? That just opened everything up from there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And then the more I practice my purpose again, like, holding these breath work and sound healing sometimes with it, these breath works for big groups of people and one-on-one and like corporations sometimes. Every time I would do that, it was healing for me too, because I was in my purpose, right? Yeah, you know that feeling.
I do know that feeling. And
Yeah.
I also know the feeling that you speak of when you're in these ceremonies or helping people, teaching people, their energy, if you're not careful, it's like what you said, you take in all of their energy. And I remember after, I don't know, 4 or 5 ceremonies with Abuela, I had a conversation with her and I said, every time we do a ceremony and we work with people, I am so exhausted for like 3 days afterwards. I can't get up. Like my body is completely drained. And she's like, are you doing anything to protect your energy? And I was like, no. What do you mean? And she's like, well, that's exactly it. Because when you're in a ceremony, people are releasing, people are letting shit go. It's got to go somewhere. So it's just all going to you. And I was like, damn it. I want to be living my purpose, but I don't want that. I don't want their energy. I don't want, dealing with my own stuff. So she had taught me techniques and things to do and how to protect myself and how to help that energy release like into the ethers and let it go. So it's not back on them, but it's also not on me either, right? And able to move it to where it needs to go. So yeah, I definitely know what you mean.
I love that. And that has been one of my biggest lessons for sure. And of course, because it's from my childhood too, it sounds like you kind of had that childhood too. Like my purpose in my family, because when I was young, right, was to do that. That's what I did to stay safe, to belong, right? I was taking care of people's shit.
Yep. Yep.
And
A
so of
100%.
course, like I was like, it's just so fun to see all the dots where it's like, of course I was having panic attacks. The panic attacks brought me to each step, to the breath work, to learn this huge healing for my soul or for my human to not do that anymore. And I'm still in a very deep, subtle process of that with now a therapist in EMDR. So I totally feel you. I would love to
What
hear
is,
what's
explain what is,
recommended for practice, or what's your favorite tool or practice for doing, for protecting yourself or releasing the energy.
well, definitely wearing crystals, having the right crystals with the right properties to repel it. Um, but using the sacred plants, not plant medicine, but like sage and copal, cleansing the energy, pushing it away. Um, your own meditations and your own breath works, talking to the energy, letting the energy know that it's that you're happy for the people to have been able to release it, but in my body it's not welcome. And so having conversations with the energy, having meditations around the breath work, all of that, it's how you work with the energy as if it's a as if it's a body, as if it's something that's tangible, but obviously it's not. But you act as if it is, and you work with it, you speak with it, you sing with it, you chant with it, you breathe with it. And just wearing the right yeah, crystals, and uh doing this smudging, and just and being aware of it too. I think that was the first thing, is not understanding that. So yeah, of course, after a ceremony you're gonna feel a little bit more tired, a little bit more exhausted. So listen to your body and rest, but understand that that's where it's coming from, and give space for it, really.
I love that so much. That's one of the things I loved learning from my shamanic teacher. She's like, which it sounds like you learned as well. It's like, it's not like it's evil or bad. You can be really loving to it. She's like, treat it all like a baby and be like, okay, you're going back home, like, and lovingly send it on its way. It doesn't have to be like, oh, you're bad or dirty or whatever. It's just like, oh, you're just misplaced, basically.
Yes,
Yeah, I
exactly.
love that.
So how do you work with, because I know a lot of people are seeking a connection to something bigger than themselves, right? Like, especially with our generation, women in their 40s and 50s, we we not rebelled, but against the old traditional religions. um we're kind of like, no, that doesn't really work for me, so I'm gonna just carry on life and move forward, and I don't really need anything, right? Like, I don't need church like my grandmother needed it. I don't need to have my rosaries and do my nightly prayers, because I'm just not feeling connected to this idea. And then I think during COVID, we all started questioning our mortality. Like, oh shit, what happens when we die? Like, what happens if someone gets sick? How do we deal with this? And I think at that moment, and that's also when the trending of the medicines and all of that, because people are seeking something, right? So we need that connection. We need a higher power to help us sleep at night, to help us through those panic attacks, through those super challenging times in life that impact all of us. None of us are escaping these things. But I found that when I first discovered spirituality, I felt super high. I was like invincible. I was like, this is the most amazing thing ever. Just give me more. Yeah, I figured it out. I have all the secrets. And then you try and incorporate it into real life with kids, family, a job, you know, the outside world. And it's really tough to figure out, how do I keep my connection to spirituality but still function in the real world, because I can't stay high up here because you can't talk to anyone. No one knows what you're talking about, right? So how do you find that balance of staying connected to spirituality but functioning in the real world?
Such a good question. I'm like, how do I do that? Huh. Um, um, I feel like this is like one of the trickiest things, right? Like you said, I was super high as well, at first. And then I feel like most people, including you, have experienced this too. And then like it's Rebecca Campbell talks about this lately. That first there's the ascension and then there's the descension, which is the embodiment of your soul. So first you have to like clear out all that and then you're connected to the divine, right? And you're like, oh my God, I'm so high. But then that actually gives space for your soul to like fully come back into your body and for you to live from your soul, right? But that can be scary for people around you because they're like, wait, they're so different than they were before. Um, and that's what I do though. Like I'm like, okay, I can feel now when like I'm not necessarily living from my soul. Like it feels a little bit different, right? If I'm living from my ego. So I think
Mhm.
there, my biggest thing is to um like I have this thing called the soul reset that I give my clients. And it's when things feel crazy and confusing and there's so much chaos in your life. And it's like I take myself through that process of like, what is my ego telling me, right? What is my survival mind telling me that's true that
Yeah.
actually isn't true? And then when I go through that process, then I feel connected again. And I've really gone through this in the last year actually, because I've been online a lot with my business, helping people
Hmm.
or women heal their relationship with money. And I feel like it definitely disconnected me from my true essence or my soul or the divine. And so I've been in a deep process in the last 4 months, like reconnecting with that. So I think like no matter where you are, like the great thing is you always have the opportunity to come back to your soul, right? No matter how far away you go, there's always the opportunity to come back. And for me, I think because of shamanism and how my teacher taught it to me, I also use nature a lot. I use like connection with the trees. Yeah. So like I want to walk every day as like literally my spiritual practice. It's church, right? I think I've seen you say that before, Earth Church or something. Anyway, yeah, so I make sure that I go out in nature every day because I know that I reconnect to myself and my soul and the divine through that. And then another practice I have that's kind of crazy. Andre's always like, God, the way you live life is so scary. You're so trusting. And I'm like, I know, but I love it so much. I call it the divine floaty. And it's the divine floaty came to me during a plant medicine ceremony. And they're like, um, but and I imagine it as like this pink flamingo, which totally reminds me of your area, right? Like the pink flamingo. But it's like this being on this floaty in the like divine river. And it's like this stream of abundance is in there. And so I'm on this floaty. And if I just like relax enough on the floaty to allow life to gift me and life to show me the way, and that takes slowing down to a rhythm that's very different than what most people live. And so that looks a little bit strange to people from the outside. So my other practice on a daily basis is to slow down and pause and also just like listen. Like most people are so busy talking or telling people how to do something or trying to control someone, but I spend a lot of time listening. What's next? Or what do I feel like is the right thing to say here? Or what do I feel like is the right action? And I'm being divinely guided versus like my ego coming and being like, you should do this, you should do that. They shouldn't be that way. So if I feel judgment or fear versus like love, I'm like, okay, this is coming from my survival mind.
Time to get on the floaty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really,
I kind of explain it like that too, because I like has a vibration, right? And the vibration in nature is slow because it has to move through the ripples. It has to take its time. It doesn't just happen. And life is so fast. We gotta go. We gotta do. We gotta go. So when we're operating in that high, not high, fast Vibration is when we get disconnected from the ground and the vibration of the earth, the vibration that we are earth, we are nature, right? So as
Yeah.
human beings, we're supposed to be operating at a much lower speed. But because of life and technology and all these things, that's speeding up. So we think we're supposed to go at that because we need to get to that next appointment. We need to get to the interview. We need to make more money. We need to buy this. We need to do this. So you're chasing these things, which is going further away from what is our natural rhythm, that natural speed. So get
Yes.
on your floaty.
Get on your floaty. And I love that you said that we are nature because I use that a lot. Like I'll say that a lot to people and they're like, oh shit. Like, why do I keep myself separate from nature? And that's and that is like colonization or patriarchy. And like really in the long form, it's like the the bearing of like the goddess spirituality or the feminine spirituality, where we were super connected to the earth and nature all the time. And so that's been buried and it's coming, it's like coming back up, it's rising, we're learning it again. Obviously, you and I are like totally feeling it. There's a whole group of women feeling it, and we're like, wow. And I think it is just like you were saying, like we think that we need to do all these things, but when we relax, the thing comes to us. And it's like,
You
yeah,
just said it.
it
Yep.
just comes to us. And you just have to be a little more patient because, you know, you're being taught that you have to have it right now. But it's like, no, if you just wait. And sometimes it comes faster than you could have even imagined, right?
And in a better way or a different way. So if we try and think about, oh, I want it like this and I need it to happen like this and this is the way it goes, it's going to do the opposite, right?
Yes.
It's going to go, no, it doesn't work like that. So whenever you're able to reconnect to that energy, that speed of nature, which is who we are, it's like what you said. It comes to us in different ways that we may not even understand at that point, right? And so a question. So at with a client, so someone is looking to, like I said, they're seeking, they need something, they're struggling and they need something to help them sleep at night. How do you speak to women that are like, oh, I don't know, that ceremony and that plant medicine and those things, it's a little too, feels a little like juju magic, like I should be going to Burning Man or something, and I don't feel, I'm scared or I don't feel connected to the juju magic. Like, how do you share with your clients or with women that it's not weird, it's not juju, you're not this radicalist cuckoo bird because you're believing in a higher spirit or feminine energy or these, the things that you teach about.
Um, Usually the entry point is breath work because it's a little bit more like yoga now. People are seeing it as yoga. And sometimes they think breath work is just going to be like sitting doing this yoga type breath work, but it's really laying down doing this like breathing pattern which connects them after they do it. So I'm always like, come try it. Don't take my word for it. All you're doing is breathing. That's it. In a group of women or a group of mixed men and women. But for me, it's very like, I'm like, just try it. Just try it and see what happens. And they always, I've never not had a woman or man have a divine experience with breath work. So that's really cool. That's why I love breath work. It's like a meditation hack and it's a
And
ceremony,
easy
but
and
they
free.
don't know about the ceremony until they get there, you know, because my ceremony is very like, it's natural for everybody. Like we have been doing ceremony, our bodies know ceremony because it's in our DNA, it's in our ancestral line. The only other thing I would say with that is that I have been starting to talk more and more with the money and with everything around the feminine spirituality or the goddess spirituality. And I think people just get it. Like sometimes I call it nature-based spirituality.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I feel like that helps a lot to just talk about that and how it's really about connecting to nature. Like it's connecting to the elements. I love doing stuff with fire, water, the breath work is the air, and like just being on the earth. And everybody can feel that. A lot of my first time clients, they come in with a breath work, and the first homework I give them is to go connect with their land outside their house. And at first they're like, that's so weird. Or like even when I'd go to their house, I'd bring them offerings to give to their land and I'd have them do it while I was there. And they're like, holy shit. Like they just have an experience just in giving an offering to their land and like slowing down and connecting to the land. So that's the other thing is like I might say, hey, this might sound really weird, but what if you went and got some flowers for your land and gave them to like some trees outside your land, like decorate your yard and just go be with your land. And so that can be like another like first time thing where they're like, oh,
Because
this feels good.
it's not the pressure of going to a ceremony or doing this big scary thing. It's no, just go out and put your feet on the ground,
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
your hands in the dirt,
Yeah. And I feel
breathe.
like they just feel it and they're just like, oh, it's so natural, right? Because they are nature and they're like, this feels different. And when they feel that it feels different, that's when they're like, oh, I want more of this. And then they just like come back for more. It's not even like I'm not talking them into it. They're just
Right.
like feel it. Yeah.
Right. You're not the scariness of the juju or the weird doesn't exist because it's something as simple as breathing or going outside. And it's like what they don't realize is when you do those simple things, you just connect and spirit
Yeah.
starts connecting with you and starts talking to you. And like it's exactly what you're saying. Like, oh shit, that feels cool. Like, what was that?
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
they realize, oh, I could be doing this every day. Like I don't have to live like yeah.
Or having something to, in a stressful day, a stressful situation, there's nothing crazy that you have to go and do. You just go outside. Like you said, make an offering to the land, put your feet on the ground, take your shoes off, put your feet on the ground and do some deep breathing. And because what especially the breath work I find is when you start doing just the deep breathing, no certain techniques, just the deep breathing, your energy, your vibration automatically reconnects to the vibration of the earth.
Yes. So true. Yeah, it's like sometimes when I'm not doing a full breath work or anything like that, I'm brought in to talk to people. I just do that. We do 3 deep breaths and they're like, and I invite them to just see how their body feels after that. And it's just like so simple, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, it
simple.
is. Once you know.
Thank you for reminding me of like how simple. Yeah, so simple.
I need it too. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
same thing. I forget it too. And then when we have these conversations with each other, it's like, there's my reflection. There's my reminder of like, oh, I'm getting caught up here in this fast energy. If I gotta go, I gotta do, I gotta conquer, it's like, no, calm it down.
Yeah.
So something I want to talk about is your working with feminine energy and the financial world. I think that's huge. I think this is like I started watching some of your TikTok videos. I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. So
Oh,
yeah, it's really powerful because it is. It's exactly what you're saying. The money is masculine and conquering and dominating and this heavy, heavy force that we all feel, and then bringing the feminine energy into it. So, how did you? Yeah, just tell us a little bit about that, how it started and how it works.
okay. How it started is so interesting. It was because of my divorce is why it started. And I had to go through another dark night of the soul, which was it was one quick story, basically, when I was looking for a place to rent. Because during the divorce, I was going to keep the house, but then we came to some agreement that he was going to come back into the house. And so we stuck with that. And I was looking for a place to rent. And because I was a stay-at-home mom for all those years, he had all the control of the money. When I say control, it wasn't like he was controlling me or anything with the money. He was generous, all of those things. Like we just had money together, right? Like this is how I
Hmm.
thought it was supposed to be. Again,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
conditioned to think this is what it was supposed to be. And so I had no credit. I had no job. I had nothing, right?
Theory for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had just split our bank accounts, or split my bank account off of it. And because the divorce hadn't happened, all the money was still on his side. And I was just putting like my breathwork money into my account. And so I found this house and I was like, oh my God, the rental market was crazy here in Denver, like insane. And there was these people. It was like next to my kids' school. It was like the perfect location. Yeah, I had a yard. It was in my price range. So what they did is they held an open house so they could meet everybody. So there's 50 people applying. They met everybody and then they decided who they were going to pick to live in this house, right?
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So I wrote them a letter before I went because it said, it told us ahead of time that they were doing that. And anyway, they picked me and my kids because of our situation. Like
Mm-hmm.
awesome family. She happened to be from Montana, which is where I'm from.
Oh,
And so it was
hey.
all perfect again,
Yep.
how things happen.
Things line up.
Yep. And he's like Navy, he's like very militant, and he scrutinized my entire finances. But he was like, we want to give you an opportunity. But I was crying so hard at the end because he was basically like, there's no reason we should give you this house based on your finances. Like, there's no reason. Like, your finances are shit. Like, and I freaking cried so hard after that. Like, I was like, oh my God, I'm such a disappointment. I'm terrible. What have I done? I failed. Like, I had all this shame around money, like so much shame. I made all these mistakes and all these things.
Mhm.
But in that moment, I was like, fuck it. It was kind of like the panic attack. Like, I felt like my guides were like, they came in and they were like, okay, we're making a decision from this day forward. We're going to be fucking amazing with money. We're going to learn about money and we're going to just like go crazy, like doing well with money.
Understanding it and understanding how it works, because I feel like so many women go through this where you get a divorce and the finances split up, and you haven't been in the workforce, you haven't been doing these things, so you're not really paying attention to it. There's money in the bank, you pay the bills, you pay for the kids, you do the things, but now you're on your own and you got to figure out how to get this house, and now this militant guy is yelling at you saying you're an idiot basically. Like,
Totally.
ah, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so I just started working on my money because I was in the spiritual world. I went to a guy first who used to work for like Edward Jones or whatever.
Hmm.
And then he had infused his shamanic training into money. And I did a session with him.
Oh wow, so it was a masculine then, it
It
was.
was it was really cool though, like because of who he is. Like
Mhm.
yeah, and the crazy thing is he had been in the military too. He lived in Guam with his family. He like adopted 6 kids. Like he's just this amazing man, right? So we sit down, we're on Zoom, and he comes out of the ocean like his hair is like wet, his dogs are running around, and I'm like, this is not a financial guy. Like, what the heck? This is
Yeah.
totally different. So he gave me permission, just the way he showed up, like off the beach, um, like super casual, and he was like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, someone had recommended him, so I
Okay.
knew like that I could like that it was going to be a little different. And he took me into a
Hmm.
ceremony, first thing, like a visualization and meditation. And then we looked at all my finances and he fucking let me cry. And he was just like, he helped me like have a new relationship with money that day. Like he took me to this meditation. This is the one that changed my life. He was like, what if you could be um a reservoir for like the people that you love? Like, what if that was possible for you? Like, what if money was like water and it could nourish your whole family?
Wow.
And that just changed my mindset. And then I started relating to money in my shamanic journeys and how could I do this differently. And I just saw that I could do it however I wanted to, that it could be my art, that I could have a feminine relationship with it, that it didn't have to be
Hmm.
masculine, and I didn't have to follow the rules that I'd been, programmed around the stock market and stuff like that. And all the
Yeah.
right people just kept showing up in my life to teach me those different ways. And so this other little part of the story is that when I met Andre, who I'm with now, my partner now, we've met.
I've met, he's
And
lovely soul too.
yeah, and we have this like beautiful, loving, soulful relationship. And we moved in together. It was actually before we moved in together, but it doesn't matter. He was staying at my house a lot and he was starting to do appointments at my house and he's a financial consultant. And so he was talking to people while I was in the room and he has a lot of women teammates and clients. And I'm hearing him talk and he's amazing. He's so good. But I saw that there was a gap, and that gap was that he wasn't allowing women to grieve about money or to let
Mm.
their shame out about money or to, like giving them that space. He was just trying to like fix it really fast, right? And like
Hmm.
get them in the right place. And I was like, oh my God, there's totally a gap here for me, which is so crazy. I never thought I'd teach money, but I'm doing really well with my money now. And I just started feeling it. It was like it just started coming in as a new purpose of like, wow, I could be teaching something different to women and I could like help them, give them space to grieve around money, help them like basically illuminate their shame and like empower them from that shame. Like, hey, let's talk about, like shame to power. And also like the way I do money is pretty cool. So like just giving them permission to like do it different. And if I taught it to them, I feel like their nervous system would be more at ease about it.
Definitely. That's the part that I really liked about it because yes, I mean, I struggle with this too. You and I are going to go deeper on this. um, but I struggle with it because it is this masculine, this control that the money has to come from a man, and it's so much harder for a woman, and how does a woman deal with it, and why can't I figure it out? I mean, exactly what you're saying, this shame of why can't I figure it out, like my ex-husband did. How did he figure out, how did he make this and do all of this? Why is it so hard for me? And I think it's exactly what you're saying. It's this shameful feeling of I'm not smart enough to figure it out, which is
Right.
complete nonsense. But that, I guess, again, it's like what you're saying. It's that program, and probably from my childhood, where my mother depended on men for that, for everything, for my entire life. It was never an empowering um, space of, oh, you can go out and do whatever you want. You can make your own money, and you can feel proud about it instead of shameful. The word is perfect about behaving like a man, or it's like there are no rules around it. You can have whatever rules that you want, and that's okay. Like, you don't need to behave a certain masculine dominating way to be connected to financial security, right? Financial
Yeah.
growth.
Yeah. And
So
I think, yeah, the biggest thing I see is just helping women love money again because it has been so damaging in their life and the way it's been taught and the way it's really been. It's not the female's fault because we've been taught such toxic things around money, like through movies and all sorts of things. We've been programmed to think that we're bad with money, have a
yes.
lot of shame around it. And we've also been taught that like almost anything that we think about money can be shameful. Like if we want to go out and make money, well, then there's a movie telling us that it's better to be like in our feminine and stay at home mom and that you should find the perfect husband. But then there's like also the movies that like if you're like this stay at home mom and you're doing that, that's not enough, you know?
Mhm.
And so it's like then
And then
men are taught
and then the other, sorry, but the
and
other
no, go.
side of that, is a woman in a position of power that is creating and making her own money. Well, then she's masculine, she's a bitch, she's domination, she's bossy. That's the word I hear, bossy. And it's like,
Yes.
where do you find that balance? Where do you?
Exactly. Yeah. So, and men were taught I mean, men have been groomed their whole lives to make money and they've been given little like ways to make money their whole life. But women generally have been, unless they were really proactive towards that, have been kept from that. So it's like we're relearning it. And also we're being taught, as you saw my TikToks, we're being taught a way that works for the masculine, not a way that works for the feminine. And you've probably seen this too, but in ancient Egypt and a couple other like cultures before now, and even in some indigenous cultures, the women are in charge of the currency, and they're really fucking good at it because they are really good stewards of wealth because they are more apt to make decisions around money based on community, based on their family. So we are actually really fucking amazing stewards of wealth, of
Mhm.
course. Um,
Yeah, there's a couple of microfinance companies. I worked with one. Oh God, I'm losing the name right now. It's Friendship, something Friendship, but it's based in Guatemala, and it's this microfinance where they finance in women's businesses, right? And of course, it's in small towns, and so women are opening little convenience stores, or they're making food, or they're making clothing, and they're teaching them how to turn it into a business, right? And the numbers and the statistics that they get back, they blow it away. like in a great way of how they can grow their company and support their not only their family but their community much better than if they'd given it to a man.
That's so cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
not
that.
comparing apples to oranges, but it's
Yeah,
exactly what you're saying. When a woman is taught, given the right tools of how do I do this, then there's something in the nature that is connected. I don't know, like how you have to connect with the feminine, right? Like being empowered. And in this group, I'm going to make sure and put it in the show notes because it's such a cool group. There's this one woman, and she rents out for her business. She rents out big ass construction vehicles like dump trucks and excavators, and so she owns this big ass equipment. It's a totally masculine, industry, but
yeah.
she owns this company and she's kicking ass. She's like collecting because she's
Oh
she's,
my
she's
God.
found a way to connect both the masculine and feminine there. So that it's amazing. It's super cool. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I love that. I want to check it out. That's so cool. And
Yeah, I'll
you
send it
just
to
bring
you.
up a great point of like, really, it's not about like masculine against feminine because it's about working on the healthy masculine and feminine within us all, right? And that we can have that, and I teach that like in my course, is like this healthy masculine structure for your finances, like creating a structure that works for you and the lifestyle you want, like not what somebody told you wanted. Because like I don't want to work my ass off until I retire. I want to be living free right now, right? Like I want to be living mini retirement. So I do my money that way, right? I don't want to just like pile it all in and then
Wait.
retire when I can't move my body.
Yeah,
It's like different
exactly.
for everyone. And there are, and I do, like you said, there's males out there that are are really good with money, but they're also having to uncondition and deprogram themselves because they've been taught to use money for control and power and to get people to like them and to belong. And so they are also going through this massive awakening. So it's not necessarily against the men so much as like
No,
the conditioning that's been
yeah,
given to both of us. Yeah.
yeah, both of it. Well, definitely I'm going to share well, go ahead and share how women can connect with you, contact you, where can they find you?
TikTok and Instagram is both at Carrie Aluna Sky, CarrieAlunaSky. And let's see, that's pretty much that's probably the easiest way to connect with me. So
Okay, well, I'll make sure
check
and
out my
I'll,
stuff.
I'll put it I'll put it in the show notes.
Okay.
Um, But before we wrap this up, I want to talk a little bit about this my upcoming retreat in October, November, honoring the Day of the Dead holiday. And we spoke a little bit about the grief and honoring our grief, like coming face to face with it and understanding it and having a relationship with it and um, having these experiences that we've talked about. I have a week planned of events here in Yucatan. So, things the flamingos and the archaeological sites and the ceremonies. And I'm super freaking excited that you are offering to do a breath work session included in that week. So I'm very excited to have you. And if you have anything to share on that, please, because I'm looking forward to hosting this space for everyone. Because not only is it a beautiful holiday here, of course, you know, it's not celebrating death. It's honoring death, and the way that they do it in the Mexican culture is something that I feel that we miss in the Western culture. While it's still terribly sad when someone passes away, or any grief that we're suffering with, but we are conditioned in the West to get on, move on with it, like get on with life. Someone passes away, you're going through something, and you kind of we don't we forget about it, or we suffer in silence. I think that's it.
Yeah.
And what I love here is they honor it and they share, the idea is that they light the candles or they build beautiful altars, which we're also going to do on the retreat. We're going to learn how to build an altar. And so they build these altars here that they honor the ones that have passed on, that have gone on to the next place in life or not living. Yeah, finding the right words for that. But they invite the souls back home to say that you are not forgotten. We love you, and here are your favorite foods, and here's your home. Come back, be with us. Let us feel you. Let you know that connection. And so I'm super excited to share that experience, and I love that you have offered to do to help me to work with the breath work and helping me to help others.
Yeah, I'm so excited too. You know, like as soon as I got your emails, like emailing you back because I was like, this is my favorite holiday, and it's a dream for me to get to go to Mexico and get to learn, like, and really feel and experience like the Mexican way and this indigenous way of like relating to death, like at its core, like at its origin, because in my shamanic training, there's a section called Death and Dying or Dying and Beyond,
Mm-hmm.
where you learn a lot about both worlds, like in crossing between the worlds. And because I had had so many people that passed in my life, it was such an interesting, intriguing, fascinating, like part of my training. And from that, I created a Dia de los Muertos breathwork session.
Oh,
A group,
amazing.
yeah, a group session for, and I had it at my house the first time. Actually, both, yeah, for the last couple of years, I've had it at my house. And people, it's like their favorite thing. They're like, "Are you having it this year?" The only hard part is going to be being away for that time. But I feel like it's so important to like go and actually get the true like origin, like experience of
Authentic.
it, so I can bring that back here and share it with people. But it's been so cool because everyone has had someone who has died in their life. Everyone who has
We're not
passed.
escaping it.
What?
We're not escaping it.
We're not escaping it, and we're gonna all pass away. And how fun to have a little more experience with it so that we don't have that fear around it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would bring people to my house and we would have an altar, which I'm excited to learn how to create a real altar. But we had an altar and everybody would bring their pictures of their loved ones that have passed. Some people brought like pictures of their pets that have passed, and we had the candles and the marigolds, and we had so much fun. And that breath work every single year is so powerful for people because it is a space to connect with their loved ones in a different way that is just not normal here in the US, right? And so, oh my gosh, like to get to come down there and have this experience and then bring my breath work down to like, I always love to do the skeleton dance, which is part of my shamanic training.
Mm-hmm.
My teacher taught me it's called the skeleton dance, and we do that before the breath work, and it's so fun and so freeing. Like you'll just be amazed at like how good you feel just after that. And then the breath work is going to be really cool to connect with like ancestors and people that have passed. And, it's such a I feel like what has done for people that had never had really an experience with this kind of thing was that it
Mm-hmm.
brought a lot of love into death for them and a lot less fear. So that was like really beautiful for them. They're like, wow, I didn't know that death could be like beautiful. Like things can be
Mm-hmm.
beautiful and hard at the same time.
Yeah, it's not dark and black and gloomy and the end.
Yeah.
It's a new
Yeah.
beginning. It's a way of remembering, a way of connecting to those who have passed or to even to yourself. Like maybe there's part of you that you feel has died. Well, how do you
Mhm.
reconnect to that to make it not a scary, dark, gloomy thing? And how do you, yeah, find the colors and the beauty in it, like you're saying? It's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's so true. Like a piece of us too. Like I've reclaimed so many of those pieces in these last few years, and I think that's so important.
Yeah, because when we're going through hard times, it's like obviously this holiday is around loved ones who have passed on. And I love that you made the point about our furry friends, our pets, because man, our pets are our kids, and some people, they're not able to have kids or whatever, so their love all goes to these pets. Well, they lose the pets too, and so
Yeah.
that was super important. But it's not, while this holiday is about grieving the death, but there's so many other different types of grief, like your divorce grief. Um, Someone gets a challenging health diagnosis. People that are suffering with infertility or trying to have kids, that is so, I've seen friends who have suffered for years and years on that, and the grief, and you know aging, right? Like, we as women especially, we're starting to get in our 50s. I'm not speaking for myself. We're like, we grieve who the youth and what society says we should look like, but how to come to terms with that. So within the week here, we're also going to be doing a lot of work with just grief in general. So it's not just about have you lost someone or not. Well, that's the main holiday, but it's about grief. It's around how do we work through it and how do we find the beauty in it.
I love it. It's so amazing. I want to add one other part of grief because I've been going through it this year.
Mm-hmm.
Is my oldest daughter went to college. And not only like I actually was there was some grief around her leaving, but my biggest grief that I was able to experience while she was gone is like how challenging and how much I gave of myself of being a mom because I only had two kids then, and my two kids that are here are like way more chill than my oldest.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to finally like grieve that. And it's like I love supporting moms that just need that nourishment because being a mom is hard and it takes a
It's
lot of
the
your energy.
hardest
You
job.
sacrifice a lot. So it's
Yeah.
like we have to grieve that shit so that we can get on the other side of it, you know? And also just come together and tend that grief. Like grief isn't like, oh, one and done. It's like, no, we get to tend our grief and we get to come together as women, like they have for many thousands of years, come together as women and grieve and have it be like light and fun and also feel like we get to feel our feelings in a
Mm-hmm.
world where for so long we've been told to hold our tears back or to not grieve or to get on with life, and we get to
Yep.
come together and make it like sacred, and because we're women we're of course going to make it fun and and I just want to say this other thing that I absolutely love about your retreat is that if there's going to be the cenote and there's going to be all these other things that are like they kind of bring us to our edge. And I feel like when we get to come to our edge of like comfort, maybe do something a little different, it expands us. Like it always is expansive, right? So not only do we get to connect with new people, we get to be brought to our edge of discomfort or comfort and like go into like discomfort a little bit. Adventure is such a huge part of like sparking something new in our life, sparking like a change in our life, or sparking like, oh, this is what I was missing. So I
Oh,
want to thank you for like creating such a cool experience and that I'm just so excited for it and to see what's going to happen and unfold and all the magic that will come together with the group of women or men or both that are being called to this.
yeah, this one,
Is it
this one,
women and men? Or is
yeah,
it
it's mixed.
okay, cool.
Mixed. It's for everyone.
Yay.
Yeah.
Fun. I think Andre's gonna want to come too. So
Perfect. It's great. Yeah, and that's part of it too. Let's balance out the masculine and the feminine and be there to support each other through it, because while we love our women only, it's amazing, and we make time for that, and we do certain ceremonies and things that are for women only. But I don't know, I just felt some kind of calling of like, let's bring the two together and open it up for everyone, because it is such a magical holiday that I don't want to limit it to just women, because I actually have had a couple of men reach out and they're like, is it just women? I'm like, no, it's all of us. So men, you had said something about it earlier, like men are seeking too. We're trying to balance, we're trying to figure this out as the world, as the energy, as we're evolving as a species. Everyone's trying to figure it out,
yeah.
you
Yes.
know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
I don't
there's
want
so
to.
many men and women because yeah, like Andre's Chilean, he's like excited to learn more, even though it's not directly connected. And also his mom is like getting near the end. So this is an important time for I feel like a lot of men our age are starting to see their parents get to that point, and it's important for them to be in that space where it's not so scary.
Right. And you can be vulnerable. It's a safe space to be vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Sarah, that'd be
Awesome.
amazing.
Yay. This has been super amazing, Carrie. I have loved hearing all of your story, and I know that all of my followers are going to love it as well. So thank you for sharing, giving your time. Like I said, I'm going to make sure and put all of your contact information in the show notes. I'll put the information about the retreat. And yeah, it's been awesome.
Yay, so cool. I love it. It has been awesome. And I just have to say before we go, I love your window, like getting to see your window with beautiful Merida outside of it. Oh my gosh.
My little palm trees. And then I just
Yes.
noticed a minute ago, I have a picture of my youngest son with his girlfriend. That,
Girlfriend, it's so cute.
yeah, it's very cute. I'm like, oh, my little baby is now grown up.
Ah. How does
That
it
happens.
happen so fast?
It happens, girl. I don't know. My oldest is 20. I think he's 29 this year.
What?
And
Oh gosh.
then he'll be 22. The younger one will be 22. So I'm past where you're at, right? Going through getting them through high school and off to college. Um, and and I went through that grief. Oh my God, when my youngest left, I had no idea what to do with myself. I was devastated. Who am I without being a mother? What am I supposed to do with my days? And I just have to say, on the other side of it, I'm like, yeah, I got all my time back. I'm not responsible for anyone. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. And it's amazing.
Gosh. See, this is the beauty of coming together because now I can like look forward to more of this, right?
Exactly. All right,
Oh,
honey.
all
Well,
right.
we'll talk soon. We'll see each other
Okay.
soon.
Okay. Love you. Mwah.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.